Good morning, good morning. This is Spirit Journey. Yes, I've been up for a while now. Today is Sunday, October 11th, 2020, and the time is now 10:16 a.m. I just feel very encouraged to read. I was doing some reading for a couple of hours, and I was encouraged by I was reading a chapter in this book. Hope I can get it here. Let me turn it. Okay, Can't Hurt Me is called by David Goggins. I did discuss some things about this book a couple of videos back and the anxiety that I had while reading it. I completed the first chapter. I mean, let's see. Oh, challenge number one. Okay. I completed challenge number one, not chapter one, but challenge number one. It was a series of, I think, subsections, and I completed challenge number one. And it was powerful. Remember, it was very powerful. And uh, it really ministered to me. And as I was reading, like what I do sometimes when I read, let me show you. Yeah. Okay. What I do when I find something interesting, I put like a what they call dog ear, you know, and those parts that I know that I might want to read back again in the future. So you do that there, you know, this page, and sometimes I even write my notes, something for me. And this section, I wrote powerful, and I lined where the section that I thought was really interesting. And then I use this post-this, that's where I'm up to now. I'm to read challenge number 2. Okay. This was an important page. This was page, it's hard to read it, page 72. Okay. And I want to just talk to you about it. Now this guy, he entered into the military. He was raised in Indiana, a town that was all white, and he's in his 40s now. He's about 45 years of age now. Again, this is 2020, the year 2020, and so he was born around the 1970s, and by the time he was like in his teens, it's in the roughly the early 90s, mid to early 90s, 1990s, and things back then. The social climate was very intense, and he had the hip hop and rap music, gangster rap that was really pop, really taken off. And he was abused physically by his father. The mother was bullied by the father. It was a physical and mental torture this family went through because of the father. Father was very abusive, and I learned of him over the internet on YouTube, and I was curious to learn more about him. I liked how he spoke. I liked the message that he was saying. Yes, he does use a lot of yes, good morning. Hey, I'm gonna put my glasses on. Put on my glasses on so I can read all the. Oh, let me get it. You have to put on my glasses so I can read all the comments. I apologize. I didn't get all your messages. But yes, good morning. Good morning. Welcome, 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 viewer. Yeah, and just really getting started. Yeah, about 4 minutes, a little over 4 minutes ago. And yeah, I learned of him on YouTube, and he does use colorful language. And but he's real. See, I don't mind hearing someone use profanity if they're speaking from their heart and they're real. And if that's what they came out from. Grand Rising, my sister. Yeah. Hi, good morning, Veronica. Yes, good morning. Good morning. Yes, I'm just gonna start. I'm not even dressed right now. I didn't even jump in the shower, but I wish to read do this live stream when I feel inspired to share with you guys. So yeah, I talked about him before, and I read a section of this book. Again, this man had faced a lot of mental abuse and physical abuse. Um, and yeah. And look in the back. See, this is what he looked like. See the big dude behind him? This is like a photo, in the overlay. So this is what, the big dude in the back is him when he weighed, oh, how much did he say? About I think he said 260 pounds or 240. He's about 6'2", and he's way overweight. That's a big dude. And he explained how he got that big, you know. And the story was kind of funny. See the guy back here? That's what I'm talking about. The big dude. That's him. He was in his 20s, I think. And then this is him now wearing his dress white uniform, military. And I I started reading the book. Again, I'm still in the early stages, as you see here. You know, see that? Let's see. Yeah, so I hardly read anything, but um, it reads smooth, but it got intense, and so I didn't read it for a couple of days to kind of detox from it. My whole body was on anxiety mode, severe anxiety in my body, and a lot of negative thoughts were coming through my mind. Um, so I put it down for a couple of days, and then I started reading it again today, and I'm glad I did. I feel okay in my body. Uh, when the latter parts I was reading, I was like arguing with myself. Um, I don't know what to say, arguing, but the things what he was saying, I was responding to. When you read material, you're going to respond emotionally, whether by, you're going to feel the words. And I was feeling how he was being picked on. And I, I like, I think what I liked the best, well, he came to an awakening about the hardships. And again, he lived with his mother. He does have an older brother, but at one time the older brother moved back to the father. The parents separated. They were never married, but they had children together, and she couldn't take it anymore, and she made the wise decision to leave the father, and he came along. He loved his mother. Not that the older brother didn't love his mother, but he was more the older brother was named after the father, and he, I guess, connected more with him, even though he was tortured also. But he was the younger and didn't, inherit the father's full, just, he wasn't named after the father. So I guess he connected more with his mom. Uh, but I started to feel like I started to, I'm sorry, he started to connect the dots. See, he was failing high school. He was cheating his way and still having a low GPA, that means grade point average. And he was introduced to certain things with the military, and a relative of his, I think was his grandfather on his mother's side, and he connected with the certain aspects of it. I guess maybe the pride and the how they carried themselves. But he got motivated one day about the military, and but yet he lives in an all-white town, or at least he goes to all-white school. And there were no blacks in the school. He was the only black. He was usually always the only one. And people uh, tried to intimidate him by um, putting a note in his book when he wasn't looking, and it was a picture of a person being lynched, and them writing the caption, "I'm going to kill you," you know, using the N word. Okay, things like that. That would frighten, bother anybody, any human being. So things like that. So he lived around. He went to school with a lot of ignorant white people. He did have some white friends, um, but it was a hostile environment. His outer world and his inner world, his personal life, were both hostile. And the section that I read today was he's putting the dots together and started rationalizing using reason how, what was going on in his life and what he needed to do. And so I just wanted to share with you a little bit because it motivated me enough to write a comment. I don't want to what do you call it when you I don't want to copyright infringe, but it's just a little piece here that I want to read. It's just one paragraph, and it really helping me open up my eyes and started looking at some of the things that happened in my personal life. I faced a lot of bullying, intimidation, and aggression in my life. I faced it in my uh, the household that I was raised in, and some things that still happen, even though I live alone, and some family members that I see it for what it is. It's to intimidate, okay? And my business life, when I was in the business world, the things that happen. And so I thought this paragraph really explained it concisely. And so that's what I want to share with you right now. Okay, I begin. I, I looked at the people who were making me feel uncomfortable and realized how uncomfortable they were in their own skin. To make fun of or try to intimidate someone they didn't even know based on race alone was a clear indication that something was wrong with them, not me. But when you have no confidence, this is what I think I really like, but when you have no confidence, it becomes easy to value other people's opinions, and I was valuing everyone's opinion without considering the minds that generated them. Powerful, I wrote. That sounds silly, but it's an easy trap to fall into, especially when you are insecure on top of being the only, meaning his race. As soon as I made that connection, being upset with them was not worth my time. Because if I was gonna kick their ass in life, and I had way too much shit to do. Each insult or dismissive gesture became more fuel for the engine revving inside me. That is what I want to share with you. Okay. And I thought, wow, I needed to hear those words. And my mind was racing and racing about, like flashbacks of things that happened to me. And the awakener, the awakening that he had about here they didn't know him, but it was just based on his so-called race, that all this drama, and he realized they were uncomfortable in their own skin. That is the key. And it's interesting he says this because like one day, like I faced a lot of racism, or I should say biases in the business world. And one day I was on the train in New York City. I'm born and raised in New York City, and that's where we are right now. But I was recalling some things in my life. And I remember one day, I was on a train, and I think the paradigm was that the white man in particular was my obstacle. And one day, there was a white man standing uh, next to me on the crowded train. He looked tired. He looked very tired. He was overweight. He had a suit on. He looked defeated. And I looked at him. I was staring at him. I mean, I don't think he realized I was staring at him, but my eyes just came upon his face, and I was studying his expression. I said, why, what's different about him? I asked a question, just like this guy, David Goggins, asked himself a question. Why is he different than me? What makes us so different? What makes him so better than myself? And I said, nothing. There was nothing better about him than myself, this man that I was looking at. I saw a human being who was at a low moment in his life. He looked tired, beaten emotionally, and he was just human as I was. We were really no different. We were just individuals facing our own demons. And I think that experience helped shape a lot of things in my mind to help shift my thinking about myself. Another thing that I was thinking of when I was reading that section, family. Like, see, a lot of things are rooted in our upbringing. Yes, David Goggins, the man David Goggins, that's his name. Okay. Um, his demons started with his family also. And I think all of our demons basically are shaped by our family lives and are no different. And you have people, family members, who have their own demons. My father was abusive, not near as abusive as this author's father, but mind games, and there was some physical abuse, and was other things. I think I don't even want to get into that. Um, Things that could happen to women. Okay, let me just say it like that. Um, and I realize that you have people, could be your parents, could be your siblings. And it dawned on me that they have a problem and that they were taking it out on me. Even though I'm the youngest one, I'm the tiniest one in my family, and I developed a victim personality. I walked around like a victim. And again, when you're tiny, skinny and everything, I was always underweight as a child, very frail looking. You know, it when you're dealing with insecure people, they take advantage of that. So physically, I was taken advantage of. And I see that it's their problem. Like, let me give you a good example. Okay, how people could, let's see, my best sister friend was from Albany, New York. I really miss her. She passed away 20 years ago. Yeah, may your friend live in peace and harmony where she is right now. Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Veronica. Yeah, New York City is filled with hurting people. And this live stream is not to condemn people. It's not that. It's really to awaken others. And I'm sharing an insight that I am learning through reading this book. Okay. So, good example how people use their weaknesses or their contempt for you. Um, I had moved into a shelter because a particular family member tried to do something sexual to me. I fled that next morning. It happened in the evening, the attempt, and I went in my room after that. And I got up early that morning with my purse and the clothes on my back, and I went to the police initially, and then they referred me to the shelter, and that's what I did. But when that happened, I did call some of my other family members, that didn't live there at the time, where I was staying. Guess what happens? Now, this so-called family member was discussing me to my mom and his little son, who was maybe 10 years old, about me. Now, I had the courtesy to call him to let him know where I was. Instead of giving me emotional support or saying, I'm sorry that this happened. There was no words of protection or love in any form. Guess what he says? Yeah, okay. You're welcome, Veronica. He says to me, you made my little boy cry. How dare you? Now, again, I'm not even physically in the room. I'm in the shelter calling him at his house to let him know where I was and what happened for me to be there. And he's saying, you made my little boy cry, and you owe me an apology. Could you believe that? That piece of shit said that to me? See, that this is what you call hatred, bullying in reverse. I'm the one that's hurting. And he shouldn't have been talking adult matters with the company of a little child. See, the little child was crying. See, the little child had more sense than he did. The little child cried because she left, and I didn't see her, or I didn't, I won't see her anymore. Yeah, that's what he was crying about. He said, that's what he said out loud when he learned that I wasn't living there anymore. And here I'm calling to let them know, it might have been one day after I arrived. So it's not like a whole year. It was maybe 1 or 2 days after, because I had to get settled, have my things, and other matters I had to handle, leaving that house with just the clothes on my back and my purse. And here the next day, after arriving, they stole my jacket and my driver's license. So I had a lot of things to do. So this is how family members could bully people around. And then bullying can also come in other ways too. This other thing was recent, but the thing I just mentioned about the homeless shelter, and then that was in Queens, Jamaica, Queens, New York City. That was 18 years ago, about 18 and a half years ago. It was January 2002. So again, that back then, the World Trade Center fell, and the place where I went to was a processing center It was like the main room where they decide where they're going to send you um, for more long-term shelter. So that I was there for like 8 or 9 days. So they had to process me and send me to another location, for longer term. Okay, and it's not the nicest place. You cannot stay there in the daytime. You when you wake up, you have to leave and then find something to do and then come back. So my job I had a part-time job just for the holiday season. Now it's the first week of January. It could have been January 3rd, January 2nd or 3rd. Yeah, maybe it's January 3rd when I left, when the incident happened the night before, and then I left. So here, you got through the New Year's, and then this attempt upon my body happens, and I got out of there. I was very beaten down emotionally and in fear. And fearful that if I had him, because see, they were going to arrest him. But I said no. Out of fear, I said no. And that I feared that it would destroy my mother. So that's how I did it back then. That was the decision I made at the time. And it is what it is. But again, it shows you how people really care, even when you're trying to protect somebody. Because I could have had him arrested, but I wanted to protect her emotions, and so I guess I'm still dealing with that. That here, something that I did to, it was easier for me to leave than rather than him being thrown in jail and having her worried about him in jail. Okay. Um, so it's a lot of stress, and then it was such a blow when I'm calling courtesy and just support. Hey, this happened, and I'm staying here, and for him to say, "How dare I make his boy cry?" and I'm not even physically there, and they decide to talk about me in front of his own kid. So you see how people try to bully. It's like Cinderella's stepsisters. And these are my real siblings, my full siblings. So the thing that happened recently, which reminds me of how, what's actually being done is a form of bullying. Um, I think that person called me. They text the message, and then I text back to him, in private. And then he responded a couple of days later. I think he called me, yeah. And, I thought it was just going to be a lighthearted conversation. And he said, "Oh, so, what you doing?" I said, "Oh, yeah, yesterday, I vacuumed and then I steamed the floor." So I just did, it was just, FYI, just light conversation. And then the person said, "Oh, well, how long do you keep keep it on the floor?" As I use it like a mop, how you use a mop. "Oh, well, if you're going to sanitize the floor using that steamer, you should, have it for at least a couple, X amount of seconds and blah, blah." And they're going on. In fact, this person, I think, went on the internet while they're on their phone trying to tell me how long I should be doing my floor. And it just wouldn't stop. And I felt like, well, wait a minute, I'm just using the steamer, and if it's a tough spot, you leave it a little longer, you just. So I felt like, oh, I had to defend myself. And I realized that is bullying. He didn't just do that because he's really concerned about my floor. If he really was concerned about my floor, hey, you should just take a plane ride into my own floors. But see, this is a form of bullying. How sometimes older siblings like to take it out on younger siblings. And I was really surprised at this individual because I care about this particular sibling of mine. Um, but as the years gone on, I notice he's been getting more verbally aggressive. And I notice he especially acts this way when his spouse is on a business trip or she's not there, something like that. And he's taking his frustrations out. Yeah, this person is taking out his frustrations and using perfectionism as a way of bullying. And shame on him to do so. And I hope he hears this too, because he does on occasion watch my videos. But I share this to let you know different forms of bullying and even from family members. See, they're insecure with themselves. Maybe they have a boss that is picking on him of you got to perform better or you got to do this better. Or maybe a nagging spouse. Oh, you didn't do this or that. So then they're going to do that to me. And they might make it look innocent. They want to ask you questions where they are preparing for themselves a killing to then verbally abuse you. I mean, even the same sibling. When I shared that I had gotten a little puppy, this person starts flipping out on the phone. Oh, you're a bad person. You have your dog in a cage, and oh, it's slavery and blah blah. I couldn't believe this dude. I couldn't believe. It's they have pinned up tensions, and see, I'm isolated from them. Basically, I live alone, and I do my own thing. I have my own YouTube channel, so on occasion, they might see me on YouTube, whatever. But see, they don't like my freedom. See, they have their spouses, their kids, and their jobs and their frustrations, and I'm here alone, doing my own thing. And so I feel my instincts tell me that they don't like that I have this type of freedom, and other members of my household, or that they come by. One time they jumped on my furniture. The 200 plus dude jumping on my furniture. What is this? Or they come to visit and you have to clean the house after they leave. And then when you tell them nicely, hey, then they don't want to see you or talk to you anymore. See, this is a form of bullying and disrespect. Okay? And so it's not about race. We all come from the same household, same parents. But see, bullying is still bullying. Well, the bullying is based on racism. But again, what is racism? They're taught that something is inferior to them, and so it's to make themselves feel better. The abuser says, I don't like such and such group. I'm better than them. See, someone who's really secure with themselves isn't preoccupied what other people look, what money other people don't have or do have, or their IQs. Worry about yourself. And so this man here, David Goggins, is reminding me that don't make other people's problems your problems, and that I need to toughen up. We on this planet need to toughen up because you have people who stress you out. And look at this guy here, the guy in the background, old picture of him. I hope you can see it. They blended it in. See that? The guy behind him? That was him. He got so stressed out and started not to care about himself that he started stuffing himself with brownies. Yeah, he ate the whole thing, and then that was a snack, a whole bunch of brownies, the whole bag of brownies, and then he went home to have a meal. Okay, that was a snack, but then when he got home, he had a meal, and he did this for a while, and then he got angry with himself and said he needed to change. Okay, so it's about taking personal responsibilities in ourselves, and he's one of the few people who actually says that about personal responsibility. In some of my past videos, I used the term accountability. And those videos that I use the term accountability or self accountability, people don't people don't watch it because they want to blame Whitey or Blackie or Yellowy or or Reddy. They want to blame everybody but themselves. And reading this, challenge one in this book of his, I said, "Wow, I like that." He started a routine when he looked at himself in the mirror, and he hated himself, and the thoughts, and like the chapter that I just read, the portion I just read on the book, um, reminding him, "Hey, wait a minute, um, I got to make a change." It's like a light bulb went on. And so he started a little routine. Like he looked in the mirror. He started grooming himself. He shaved his face, his head, and he started putting post-its, these little post-its, on the mirror, things that he should do for the day to help get him back on track. And it worked. And he disciplines himself to accomplish things. And I was also interested in what he said about goals. And I see that with myself, I was getting emotional with my life. And I think with this COVID, I mean, that is an excuse. The COVID is part of it, but I was feeling a little defeated earlier, when the COVID first happened in March of this year, March 2020. It's now October. I was setting out on a path, and things changed overnight. Uh, so I see one thing in life, you can always reset your path. You can say, okay, let me get back on track where I am now, wherever where you are. I mean, I'm not a 20 something year old woman, I'm a grown woman. And so it's up to me to make my own path and maybe make new opportunities for me. He also says about you have to get in a dark place, meaning, get to know yourself. And I think that's what I have to do, get to know myself and set little goals for myself, for me to accomplish my own personal goals, and not to care what other people think of me, whether family or strangers out there, because everybody is a potential enemy and anyone could be a potential friend. And just like yourself, you can be your own friend or you can be your worst enemy. So I want a win win for my life. I want to be my best friend and not care what other people think of me, especially if they show me lack of respect, whether that lack of respect is from family members, relatives, or strangers, or coworkers, or bosses. So I will definitely continue reading this book by David Goggins. And I just felt it was important to share this with you. Yeah, I just had to get it off my chest and to remind myself that a lot of things aren't what you think, that we live in a world that is full of hurting people. These hurting people come in many forms, and these hurting people can say and do a variety of things. But it's not you that they're attacking. They're really attacking their own self. And that's the essence of this message. People are hurting themselves, and they also do so by hurting others. They are transferring what they really feel about themselves onto you. And I won't have that anymore. And I will not tolerate it. Yeah, so I need to stand my ground, groom myself, look in the mirror and say, I love you. Treat yourself well. Don't look for trouble either. And maybe set up little personal goals this COVID season that you can live with, that is nurturing. Okay? So I hope you like this video, this live stream, this beautiful Sunday morning. And may you have many more. Encourage yourselves. You decide for yourself when you look in the mirror those little goals that you want to accomplish. Take personal responsibility for your life and see the change happen. And that we all have to toughen up. Yeah, this is a warfare. This is warfare, our own personal warfare. But we can do it. Let's encourage each other. If you don't have a positive thing to say, keep it to yourself. If you have something encouraging to share with yourself or others, then that share. Okay? So thank you again for listening, and take care, guys. This is a journey that we all have to do alone. Thank you, guys. Take care, be well, and enjoy your day. Yes. Thank you. Oh, okay, Kevin Ramos. Thank you for listening. Peace and love to you, Kevin. Bye bye.